Hi guys, it's Daniela here, Ground Your Life with DZ. Um, for those of you some of you who follow this channel, might have also gone. I went to the recent Tataria Australia event that JCK attended as well with Kelly and Campbell from Autodidactic and Tataria Australia, and it was an amazing vibe. And yeah, it was just amazing to be there amongst like-minded people, um, and meeting a few of the people that are in the Quantum Truths Melbourne group, um, and so that was amazing. Um, Shout out to everyone that I saw there. Today, I haven't been able to do a video for quite a while, just with opportunity with children. Um, Today, I've got my daughter sleeping right now. She's having a nap, and I thought I would do a video. I'm trying to keep my voice down a little bit so I don't wake her. So sorry about the audio. You might need to turn it up, pop headphones in. Um, but I've written a few things down because there's quite a few. Rather than making several different videos, I might just lump it in one today. But look, one of the big themes today that I wanted to discuss was about not having to fit into a box. And I just wanted to talk about how my journey through life, from a young child to then an adult, how I felt. And as I look back on it, I was really, I say, but society, if you want to say, tried to program me into a certain direction, or tried to put me in a box where I didn't really fit in a box. And so this might resonate with some of you. I'll share some of my stories now, and yeah, if you feel inclined to share, please write in the comments in ways that you have felt society has tried to shape you and how it didn't work, or how did you get out of that box, or what did you do to rebel against that box, for example. So I have a couple of really significant memories that happened when I was younger. One of them, or two of them, happened when I was in kindergarten. So I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and our kindergarten is in Victoria. Is generally before we start, school, primary school. But I was a young prep and a young kindergarten student, so I was only 4 years old in kindergarten, and so, which is like 4-year-old kinder. So I was left-handed probably for, a couple of years, because you're not writing really generally when you're 1 years old. But say when I was 2 and 3 and 4, I was drawing, or if you're trying to write, but drawing with my left hand. And I think this is commonplace I'm not that old, but back in the days, that often at school or kindergarten, the left-handers were molded into writing with their right hand. So this was interesting because this happened to me. So I was left-handed. I was basically told that I had to write with my right hand, or write and draw with my right hand, and then I became right-handed. So now to this day I write with my right hand, but if you ask me to write a letter or something with my left hand, I can do it. Um, Sometimes get a bit rusty and need to take a bit of practice, but I am quite ambidextrous. Same sort of thing with even ball sports, or I did gymnastics and things. I would often do some things left-sided and some things right-sided, like I wasn't really just one or the other. And I just find it interesting that that they tried to put me in a box in kindergarten. Another thing that happened, so I mean, I was always quite creative and imaginative, and when I look back at it now, I probably think, oh, it's probably because I was away with the fairies, I was astral traveling, I was in other realms. But I never really, I suppose, cared for authority or rules, but not in a way that I was trying to rebel, just in a way that I was just being me. I was just being me. And so in kindergarten, I was 4 years old. Probably one of my most significant childhood memories, because it must have been quite traumatic for me. I was at kinder, and they had like tea sets, or what do you call it, like a fake kitchen. It's a children's kitchen with plates and cups and spoons and whatever, but it's the children's size, the little children's size things. And you're playing make believe, you're playing make believe kitchens, you're playing mummies and daddies kitchens and whatever. And anyway, at the time, the kindergarten was a small. It was a small, not anymore, but it was a small kind of ruralish town in the day, and there was probably only one or two kindergartens in the whole town. So it wasn't and there wasn't many. It wasn't a huge big kindergarten, but they were cooking. The cooks or whoever does it was cooking soup, and you imagine this like just vegetable soup, a massive pot of vegetable soup. Now I'm not sure how I access to it. It must have been they must have put smaller pots of it on trolleys and were bringing the trolleys around to serve the children. So we must have been having soup for lunch that day or something. Anyway, somehow I managed to get the soup and serve it up with my own servers from the children's tea set, from the kids' crockery, the plastic plates and cups that were the tiny little ones. And I served all the children. I don't know what the teachers were doing when I was doing this, but I served the children the soup in the in the children's um, plates and bowls. And anyways, I thought I was being fantastic. I thought I was being a good helper. I thought that I was like the best kid in the world because I was helping and getting it done, getting the job done. Obviously, the teachers didn't think that, and when they came and saw what I had done, I got in the biggest trouble ever. Must have got yelled at. I can't fully remember, but what I do remember is I was told that I had to clean all the mess that I'd made, and so I was put in a corner with a sink with dishes and maybe with gloves. I don't know, but like what an adult job would be to wash the dishes as a 4-year-old, and I had to wash all the dishes, and it was like a real punishment that was made. They would try to make me feel shame and guilt, and I probably did. But I also remember sort of feeling confused. I was more just confused. I didn't so much feel shame and guilt. I just felt confusion, like here I was trying to do something nice for everybody and serve up the soup, and here I was being punished, and I didn't understand it. And it's not until later on where I've done even some past life regression or done some hypnosis or even done some kinesiology where it's brought me back to different points in my life that has come up. Um, there was also another time where I was in prep, so I was about 5 years old, and it would have been only the first few weeks of prep at school, our first few weeks of school. And I was in this class, and we had like little pigeonholes, or not lockers, but the little pigeonholes that you put your bags in. And someone must have had a Big M, one of those strawberry milks, and with a straw that went through. And one of the children must have left the Big M in their bag or something, and it's tipped over and gone everywhere. Anyway, so you can imagine the teacher wasn't happy. There was Big M, strawberry milk on probably a hot day, spilt everywhere on everyone's pigeonholes and over their bags and whatever. And the teacher lined us up like we were prisoners, literally, like lined us up in front, made us sort of, stand up straight, and basically said, whoever's done this needs to come forward. And so, anyway, I don't know, it was a long time that we're there. No one owned up. And it must have been because it was near my bag that myself and another girl, it was out nearest to our bags. It definitely wasn't mine because I know that I wasn't given a strawberry Big M. That would have been like a luxury for me from my parents. But we got basically told, well, it must have been one of us, and we got made to clean out a whole art cupboard. So I remember just being this huge art cupboard and just having like I don't know, glue and papers and things like that in it. And it's almost like, I can't remember the fully extent of the memory, but I think it's almost like we had to strip everything off the shelves and put it all back. And this took like hours. And so we were taken from the class work to do this. And it was like, again, shame, guilt, punishment. And I remember thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I being punished? I didn't do anything wrong. And we were 5 years old. I possibly was even 4 years old because I hadn't even turned 5 yet. I was a young one. Anyway, I look back on these things and think, I do really feel like it was a tag on my light, on that light shining through, and it's like to try to put me down, and there's things like this that have happened in my life. And it's through healing and through especially kinesiology and other healing modalities that have really healed these kind of memories. There goes my microphone, sorry. They're not past life memories, they're current life memories, but they're trauma, and especially as a child. And so they're not like sexual trauma, they're not physical abuse and that sort of thing, but it's the emotional abuse, or it's the put down, and that creativity then gets hindered and it gets pushed down, and it really can affect sort of the sacral chakra. Anyway, another event happened when I was a physiotherapist, and So I was a uni student as a, I was in my maybe third year or fourth year of university placement as a physiotherapist. And I went to actually a hospital in Ballarat. I won't say which one, but I was on a student placement that went for maybe 5 or 6 weeks. I can't remember exactly how long they went for. And I went and stayed there. It was probably 2 hours away. I went and stayed with a friend for these 5 or 6 weeks. Anyway, um, one of the things that I would do is, I'm in a hospital setting. It was like a rehab setting with more elderly patients who'd had strokes and different things like that. A neurological rehab it was. And I was dealing with a lady. She would have been fairly older, 70 something years old. She was in the rehab hospital, and we wanted to try to get her to be discharged home. So in my mind, I thought, and she had an elbow or wrist, issues, or it was because of the stroke or whatever. She had issues with her upper limb. And so as a physio, I thought, well, I asked her what her goals were because I'm a very goal orientated person. And she said she wanted to be able to make a cup of tea for herself. And I thought, fantastic. So there was a kitchen where the patients could go. So I said, come to the kitchen. And what we'll do is we'll set up a cup of tea. We'll have a go and see, can you make the cup of tea for yourself? So anyway, did this, thought I was fantastic. Thought, what a great, I'm being functional and goal orientated. And I basically nearly failed the placement because my supervisor came over and said, you don't do that. The OT does that, which is an occupational therapist. And, we're both allied health professionals. And, you know, um, in my mind, I see it that we should work together rather than have very defined boundaries where only the OT can do this and only the physio can do that, because at the end of the day, making a cup of tea is making a cup of tea. But I experienced then the very defined boundaries in the medical system of, you will not cross this line. If you cross this line and you try to do something that's a little bit creative outside and bleed into that other area of expertise, you will fail. You will not pass this neurological placement. You will not then become a physiotherapist. Get back in line. So that was one of my, oh, I suppose there was many, but that was a very significant memory that I had of being tried to fit into a box. And it's about, authority and the system trying to fit you in one box. And if you try to get out of that box, you'll be kicked back in, or kicked out of the system, or kicked out of your um, dreams, or whatever you want to do. So I'd love to hear about your comments of anything like that has happened to you, whether it's been school, work, study, anything where something similar has happened. I wanted to also then correlate that back to the current topics that are being discussed across the internet, probably worldwide. Um, I'm not going to go into the great details about my deep perspectives of the subject, but if you're familiar with Roe versus Wade, I hope I've got that right, because I'm not completely familiar with all the legislation, but the things that are going on um, in regards to, I will say the word abortion, or ceasing a pregnancy prior to full term. Um, this has really divided a lot of people. And what I have noticed, I haven't made any comments or posts on this because, I don't, I've got friends who have done this, and I don't want to, it's not for me, I don't feel it's compassionate um, to make these public comments and then them feeling shame or guilt or feeling horrible about the decision that they had made. Um, and I do understand the different agendas, the dark agendas that happen with human fetal tissue, um, aborted fetuses. And, that's something that you could look into if you're not aware. Go and look into that and research down that rabbit hole. But, as long as it's not a trigger for you. But what I have found that it's done, if you imagine there's, I suppose, kind of, if you want to say, the people that are awake and the people that are not. I don't like sort of categorizing it in that way, but people that are open to these um, conspiracy theories and, people who have a bigger understanding of what's going on in the world. Okay. There was previously sort of it's black or white, but this Roe versus Wade and the abortion topic, I find it's really divided. So instead of having two groups, I find that this group split then into two, and then this group split into two, and we have four groups. So it's very interesting. And I just really do feel it's all about awakening consciousness. So I try to detach from that, try not to get too wrapped up into it and into the emotion of things, because with everything, there's no right and wrong. There is experiences, there is all about growth, trying to develop unconditional love from the heart chakra, radiating that love out, and trying to detach from being too caught up in these sort of political, religious, or philosophical arguments. Whatever level of consciousness you're at, it's still drawing in. So don't feel that you do have to fit in a box. Don't feel that you have to have a certain opinion about something just because the group that you're part of has that opinion, and vice versa. So um, just wanted to put my take on that. And, at the end of what I have found interesting though is that a lot of people who have been uh, my body, my choice in terms of the Roe versus Wade stuff were the opposite when it came to these mandates, saying, oh, come on, just get it done, get it done. So I find it interesting. So you're not my body, my choice for this, but you are for the other stuff. So, as I said, I'm not going to explain what my take on that is, but look, I believe every circumstance is different anyway. And I think that every circumstance needs to have compassion, but I also do believe that there's a darker agenda with this, and it's also trying to help divide everybody. So let's just all respect each other's opinions about things, even if they're different, and understand that it's okay to be different and not fit in a box. On that note, I hope that you'll have a fantastic day or evening or afternoon. I would love for you to comment and share your stories or your take on things below. Please like this video because it does help the algorithms. Even commenting helps the algorithms. Please share this channel if you've got any like-minded souls that you are friends with or know. And I'll hope to be back with some more videos soon. Bye.